And then shall he, all the tribes of the earth, mourn, and they shall see the Son of the Man coming in clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So check it out. If he's coming in the heavens, in the clouds, with power and great glory. What are those powers? Those powers are the chariots. Remember Ezekiel spoke about the chariots. Ezekiel had a vision by the river Sheba. He tells you that. He said he saw the chariots appear in the skies.
Okay, take care.
And it says, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds of heaven and the earth, the elect of Israel. You see yourself on here? Where? Because you know that's who the elect are. The elect are the 12 tribes of Israel.
No, I'm not there.
Okay, that's fine. Because
this is, I am Spanish, so I am European. So
well, you may not.
I'm not seeing myself.
You may not. Well, you may not be European like you think, because Israel was scattered to the four corners of the earth, so they are mixed amongst all of the nations. So there will be Israelites mixed amongst the Spanish. There will be Israelites mixed amongst the English, because they were scattered everywhere during the transatlantic slave trade, and when they came and took down the Native American Indian tribes. And even before that, they were scattered. Because remember, Israel, the first scattering of the Israelites happened under Shalmaneser V of Assyria, the king of Assyria. He came and took down what they call the northern kingdom, right, of Israel. He took them into captivity. He was the king of Assyria. This was in 720 BC. His name was King Shalmaneser. He took them into captivity. They never came back to the land of Israel. So these here, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, Issachar, these are what they call the 10 lost tribes of Israel. They never ever came back to Israel when they was in captivity in Assyria. These were the people that came to the Americas first. Today that we call the Native American Indians. They were the 10 tribes of Israel. They never ever went back to the land of Israel. Now that's all in the Bible. It tells you about their story and how they got there under Shalmaneser V. Then the southern kingdom, that was the kingdom of Judah. They were the only ones left in Israel. So in the northern kingdom, they called them what? Samaritans, Gentiles. That's why when the Lord said to the disciples, he said, go seek, do not go to the Samaritans, he told them. He said, don't go to the Samaritans or to the Gentiles, because the Lord knew that those people that lived in northern Israel were not Israelites. So he said,
what were they?
They were Babylonians. They were the Samaritans. They were the people. It tells you in the Bible, when, I'll show you it right here. I'll quickly read it to you here. In the book of Kings, it tells you the story of them. Everything about the history of these people, of who we are, is in the Bible. So the book of Kings chapter 17, it tells you here. It tells you about them going into captivity. It says here, it says, in the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hoshea, the son of Elah, who reigned in Samaria, which is the northern kingdom. All right, because at that time Israel was split into two. You had a king of the southern kingdom, Judah, and you had the king of the northern kingdom. Because after King Solomon died, Israel split into two countries, two kingdoms.
Why?
Oh, because the people in the northern kingdom didn't want to be ruled by Solomon's son. They figured that he was not going to show them any favors. So Solomon's son, his name was Rehoboam, became the king of the southern kingdom.
And who became the king of the northern kingdom?
Jeroboam. His name is King Jeroboam. He became the king. So in the northern kingdom, what Jeroboam did, he got rid of the Levite, the priests, because all of the priests were the Levites. They were the priests. He got rid of all of the priests out of the northern kingdom, and he put in his own priests. And that's when idolatry started to come into the land of Israel. And they were worshipping idols, and they built groves to worship to all these other gods and so forth.
I want to follow you. How do I follow you?
I'll give you my YouTube channel in a minute here, yeah?
I've got to go in 2 minutes.
Okay, Judah _Israel.
Judah underscore.
Israel. That's my channel name.
Judah like that.
Yeah, Judah spelled like that. Judah, then underscore,
Yeah.
and then Israel. Yeah.
All of these posters, are they from GMS?
Yeah.
So that's a good one.
What is GMS?
Great millstone. It's an anagram for the word. You know the Lord talks about the great millstone that's going to destroy Babylon the Great. So it's an anagram for GMS. But GMS also teach on the highways and byways like this. They have camps all around the world that teach the Bible. So their name is called GMS. It's just an anagram. Yeah.
And GMS Publishing.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
All right, man.
Take care.
All right, man.
Both of you are in my prayers.
Yeah.
She's in my prayers, so are you.
Shalom, love.
Okay.
And that. So I always say the scripture tells us in the book of Romans, right? Just so you understand. When we talk to people and we talk about the Israelites, it tells us in the book of Romans, Paul says here, Romans chapter 8, verse 16, the Spirit itself bears witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. And if children, then heirs, and heirs of the Most High, and joint heirs with the Lord. If so, that we be suffer with him, that we may also be glorified together. So in terms of when we say that who the Israelites are, predominantly, we know those are the 12 tribes of Israel according to Bible prophecy. Because the Bible tells us that these are going to go into slavery by ships. And they all went into slavery by ships in the transatlantic slave trade. The Bible tells us that the northern kingdom, came to the Americas after they went into captivity under King Shalmaneser V and never went back to the promised land. They made that journey to the Americas. And it tells you that in the Bible, the journey about them. And it also tells you about the prophecy of these people of what's going to befall them in the last days and how they're going to be perceived to the world and how we're going to identify. Because we can't take blood test, DNA to know what tribe you go back to. We can only know through Bible prophecy and through the Spirit. So you say you're Spanish, a lot of Spanish come from the Moors because the Moors ruled Spain for a long time. Right, well the Moors come from the tribe of Judah, Benjamin and Levi. That's where the Moors come from. But they were worshipping Islam because when Muhammad became the ruler in the Middle East, for you not to pay taxes, you either had to pay the taxes or you worship Islam. So they joined and they started to worship Islam. The Moors ruled Spain for a long time until Queen Isabella. That's right, 800 years, so you know. Isabella and Ferdinand were the ones that conquered them. It started under El Cid. El Cid was the first one that fought along to get them out. And after the 2 or 3 centuries, the last place of their holding was Granada. And they finally got them out of Granada. So many Spanish go back to the Moors. That's why a lot of Spanish are very brown skin, brown hair, brown eyes, brown skin. They're not pale like the English, or So you being an Israelite is absolutely a possibility. One, because we know the Moors conquered your place for a very long time, and that many Spanish descend from the Moors. 2, because if you're able to receive what we are teaching, if you can see what we are seeing, that's because the Lord has put the Spirit on you to receive it, which tells me that you are probably an Israelite. So being born in Europe doesn't necessarily mean that you're a European. Where you're born does never denote your nationality. Because if I was born in China, it doesn't make me Chinese, right?
yeah.
Okay, so that's what we must always understand. And that. So
that is, we have our past.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, because we're all being mixed up along the line, all of us, and that. So I can't say to you I know exactly what tribe I come from, but I know predominantly those that are in the West Indies, that my parents are from the West Indies, would come from the tribe of Benjamin, but I could be from Judah, because the slaves went to America, they went to the West Indies, also they went to Brazil. The Portuguese were the first ones to bring slaves to the Americas, and they brought them to South America, and they brought them to Brazil. That's why they speak Portuguese. And then the Spanish brought the slaves to Argentina, Chile, all those places, mixed up. But the people that were already there, the Native American Indians, they were from these lost tribes of Israel. That's who they were. When the Spanish first came to the Americas, the Native American Indians, they spoke Hebrew. They didn't speak, today they speak Spanish or Portuguese, or they speak English, but they originally spoke Hebrew when they went there. There's a stone that they found in Mexico called the Los Lunas stone, which had the 10 Commandments on in Hebrew language.
I was going to say that. That's why you find in
Yeah.
South America, you find stones.
Absolutely. And pyramids. Why do you think the Aztecs built pyramids for? When the Israelites were in captivity in Egypt, in ancient Egypt, under the pharaohs, it was the Israelites who were the slaves that built the pyramids. It weren't the Egyptians that built the pyramids. It was their slaves, which were the Israelites, before Moses took them out of captivity. They spent 400 years as slaves under the Egyptians, and they was in Egypt for 430 years. So that's why you see the same pyramids. The Aztecs built them, the Incas built them in South America, because those Indians that they call, because it's the Europeans that call them Indians, which means savage. They are from the 10 lost tribes of Israel, and that's who they are. And they have artifacts that shows that today. It's just that it's a hidden truth.
Yeah. It's like the history has been rewritten.
Absolutely, absolutely rewritten.
I'm very sorry, I have to
No,
go.
that's fine. That's fine.
But lovely to meet
You as well. You as well.
So you have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It's called Judah
_Israel. Yeah. Okay. And I'll be here every Sunday anyway, between 2 and 5. Yeah. All right. Shalom. Bye bye. That was a quick interval there. Wow. Shalom. That was the interval there. A few people there. So let's just finish up on there before we shut this down. We was in the book of Matthew, right? It's a lucky family, but that was someone that was looking at and reading the posters and everything, and you know, you got to give them a bit of airtime so they can see what it's all about. But she felt it. She felt it in the spirit. She said she was a Spaniard. She's from Spain, but she could see it, what we was teaching, and she was reading some of the posters there, and she was able to feel it. And that's why to show her a few scriptures, let her know that her coming from Spain or being so-called Spanish doesn't necessarily make her a Spaniard, because as we all know, many Spaniards are descended from the Moors. The Moors were Israelites that worship Islam. So, you know, I had to make it clear to her that don't feel away, because Israel is scattered amongst the nations, right? We know predominantly this who they are, but they're also scattered amongst the nations. And she was able to receive everything I said to her, to the point that she took my YouTube channel and she's gone away. And yeah, she's feeling good in the spirit. So we'll leave it at that anyway. So we finish up here in Matthew 24 before we shut this down, right? Who was it? Matthew 24. A few more verses before we shut this down today. All praises. All praise to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. So it was in Matthew 24 verse 30, right? So it says, and then shall appear the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So what is that power and that great glory? That's the Lord coming with Michael, the chief angel, his general, and all the rest of the archangels, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, and all of the legions and legions of angels that are going to be coming in chariots, what the world ignorantly calls UFOs or UAPs, right? That's the Lord coming. When all hell breaks loose, when the war is kicked off, he's going to be coming in his chariots, right? And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect, right? From the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So that's what it's about. It's all about gathering together the elect. The elect will be delivered out of this ensuing war that's coming, out of the destruction, out of the war of Armageddon. The elect of Israel will be delivered. The nations will face their judgment. The war of Armageddon will come to play. A new rulership will be coming into town. It's not going to be the Chinese. It's not going to be the Russians. It's not going to be the Europeans. It's going to be the children of Israel. And it's going to start with the elect of those people. The 144,000 alongside the angels of the Lord and the Lord himself. David will be king, sitting on the throne in the promised land. He will be sitting on his throne. Yahushua will be there as well, sitting on his throne. The 144,000 will have their thrones as well in the kingdom. We'll have all of that up their crowns. And we're going to rule this place with a rod of iron. In righteousness. It shall be ruled in righteousness with a rod of iron in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. It's as simple as that. So, I said we've been going for about 2 hours here. The Spirit's been on me for about 2 hours. I want to give all the praises and the glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakar Kodash. I pray this was an edifying lesson to all of you that tuned in live, and for those of you that may tune in later. As I always say, it's all about bringing out this word. We here, we stand stiffly for the name of our Savior, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. There's nothing more that we can do but teach this word and pray that the Lord continues to keep the Spirit on us. So, as I said before, give the praise and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, and double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who are leading this word in truth and spirit and sincerity as always. Shalom to the Akiyans out there, to the brothers and sisters. Kwam Ya Sharala family. Until we meet again, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. All praises.